welcome back to this new video of mine. This is the first fall video I will be making this year and I couldn't be more excited. I love fall. So as you might be able to tell, I'm in a new setting. I recently moved and we're still in the middle of moving actually. This is not the final setup yet. I don't love it yet, but we're getting there. I already excuse if there might be some echo. I tried my best, but I feel like the carpet helped it a little, but still we're not like fully there yet. You know, I feel like we need to isolate the sound a little bit more perhaps. But besides all of that, not so fun stuff, I made myself a pumpkin spice latte, and actually I did not know Dolce Gusto now also sells pumpkin spice in collaboration with Starbucks. So this is a live taste test. I put some cinnamon in it because I just felt fancy. The only thing is it's orange, and that's actually a bit of a concern to me. I know it's artificial, but I don't want it to look as artificial. But okay, live taste test on camera right now because I'm just too excited. I just cannot wait. I will need to get used to that, I think. That does not taste like a normal pumpkin spice latte. I had higher hopes, but what can one do, right? I have a huge stack of books here. Let me show you. A huge stack, literally. And I also made a very long and excessive list of books I want to talk to you guys about, because we're not only going to talk about fall book recommendations, we're also going to talk about my TBR, which is, as always, a bit excessive and extensive, and I never learn. Look, what I usually do is I write down my TBR and I think about it thoroughly, and I'm very ambitious when it comes to my TBR, and then ultimately I maybe read half of it, which is not ideal, but it's not the point of making a TBR. So towards the end of this video I'm gonna keep it a bit more loosely. I'm gonna tell you the genre I'm interested in. Like, I still have some TBR books on there, but it's not gonna be as much as my summer TBR because I learned from my mistakes. These are sadly not all the books that I just showed you that I will be recommending to you guys, because as I said, we're in the middle of moving. Right now a lot of books are also still at my parents', so the bookshelves that you usually see in my videos are at my parents', and these ones are here where I live now, where I study. So you will get a switch up in scenery every once in a while, but that means that I cannot show you all the books I physically own because I just don't have them here right now. So just so you know, I will just put them on the screen here. Everything else left aside, let's get right into this video. And I'm gonna try this pumpkin spice latte again. It smells good, but it tastes like soap. So let's start with the book recommendations because there are quite a few. For your information, if you're new here, I mostly read romantasy or fantasy and romance books. I need some love in my books. That's just what makes me personally happy. Just know that you're gonna get that mostly on this channel. Maybe I will breach out into some thrillers soon. I don't know yet, but I cannot give you recommendations on that because I just simply do not read that stuff. So the first series that I would recommend you to read in fall is Kingdom of the Wicked by Kerri Maniscalco. I actually bought them all when they came out, like 1 or 2 years apart each. So I don't have like the consecutive feeling of reading them all back after back after back, but I loved them. They were the books that slowly started to get me back into reading and into fantasy and gave me like that feeling again of like what a good fantasy novel is. I feel like I would now rate them probably around 4-star. So in this book we're following Emilia, and Emilia recently lost her twin sister, and she is very keen and set to find out what happened to her because she doesn't believe that it was like just a natural cause. She believes something else went on. And not to forget, Emilia and her twin sister, they are also witches. We have witches in here, which for me, fall is witch season, you know? It's the season of the witch. Of course I had to recommend you a book about witches, but we not only have witches. Listen up, we also have demons. And those demons are also called kings of hell. So we have the underworld where the 7 kings of hell rule, or princes of hell, and those princes are adapted or based on the 7 deadly sins. Per accident, instead of just summoning a normal demon, Emilia summons the prince of the underworld, Wrath. We have a tiny bit of a romantasy going on, but also just a lot of mystery, a lot of fantasy aspects. It's very fun. Yeah, a lot of twists and turns. I gotta say, if you don't read it back to back, it gets a bit confusing because you just forget a bit of stuff. So it took me a while sometimes to get back into it. Overall, great series. I gotta say, I find it very important actually in which narration a story is being told. So this story is being told in first person, which I personally love. And then we have also the Throne of the Fallen series by her, and this one is narrated in third person, which makes it a bit more difficult for me to get into personally. So just so you know that this is my personal reading preference. If that's your cup of tea, then you're completely right on this channel, and make sure to subscribe so that you never miss a new upload. Shameless plug right there. Yeah, I don't know, I feel like I can always, especially with fantasy, get better into the actual feel of the story and feel more connected to the characters anytime it's in first person. Another book that I never hear anyone talk about, and this is now a placeholder for the first book in the series, which is Poison Princess by Christy Cole. I don't on booktok or booktube hear anyone talk about this series, but I started reading it when I was 13, I think. I love this so much. I read some Goodreads reviews recently and I understand some points that were being discussed in there. The thing is, I love it so much because I read it when I was younger, but also I reread it like 3 times or something, but not recently anymore. The thing is, I grew up with this series basically, or I grew into it, so even now, if I continue the series now, I don't have any bad feelings towards it. So that's a thing where I'm definitely biased. And of course, taste changes, but I feel like this one is very good. I actually cannot recommend it for 13-year-olds. I mean, I was a bit too young to be reading this. So this is the 7th book in the series, I think, and also the final one. And yeah, I have not read this one yet. But what this series is actually about is we're following Ivy, and Ivy is basically a very normal girl, goes to high school. I think she also liked to cheerlead or something. Like, she was really just like the stereotypical girl next door, basically. And then she meets Jack. And Jack is more the guy from the slums, I would say. And he has a motorbike and he's like the bad guy, always wearing a leather jacket, like kind of basic. I'm not telling it to you right now, I'm sorry. But it's getting good now, okay? Suddenly, the apocalypse starts and the entire world is going under. And she's with Jack that night and they're both fighting for their lives and no one knows what's actually going on. So after day 0, which they call the day of where the world started to go under basically and everything had to rebuild, she started to develop powers. There are a lot of other people actually on the planet, or to be exact, 24 other people on the planet who also developed some powers, because this is an Arcana game. I don't want to give too much away, but the Arcana Chronicles is the entire series that it's called. The Arcanas are based on the tarot cards, and those cards have different powers. So basically your world is your playground and the different cards need to play against each other. So this is what the entire book is about, what the entire series is about. And we also have a love triangle in here. It's enemies to lovers, very high stakes. It's just crazy. It's a very intense series, but a very good one. I really enjoyed it and I'm actually afraid to finish it, but I can recommend it to you. And because no one ever talks about it, I feel like this is also a very good book to read in fall. It's just the vibe, you know? If I think about the series, I think of fall and winter. Definitely can recommend. Another book that I recently read is Serpent and the Wings of Night. I already talked to you guys in a reading vlog about it. It was in a This Video Ends When I Find a 5-Star Read video, and I actually really enjoyed it. So this is a book about vampires. I forgot her name right now. Let me look it up. So in the description it says The Hunger Games meets vampires, which I kind of agree with. Like, it was about some games and it was really fast paced. I feel like it's not a dystopian novel though, you know? So like, definitely it's a fantasy romance, with the romance coming a bit later in the game though. Like, it's not right up front, it's more about the mystery and everything and the politics. So it's already a book where I would say if it's for fantasy beginners, that's maybe not it. But if you're for the vibes and if you're into vampires, which I was actually not before this, but after this I might, this might be for you. And as I said, even if you're not, this might still be for you, because this is a really good book. We're following here Oraya, and I always forget her name because it's just not an easy name to remember. We're following Oraya and she's the daughter of the Vampire King. So there are basically 3 vampire houses and there are always people from those vampire houses that will be competing in a game. I think you can call it like a tournament, where at the end of it you will be granted a wish. And the issue with Oraya is that she's not a vampire. She's a human and she was adopted by the king basically when she was really young. That is her reason why she wants to go into those deadly games, because she might be getting a wish at the end of it and might be able to become a vampire. And then Rain enters, who is another vampire, and we have a little bit of a love situation going on there, but also a lot of intrigues, a lot of like just the games and everything. So it's kind of giving Powerless, Hunger Games, but with vampires. So if this is your vibe, consider The Serpent and the Wings of Night. For me it was a 4-star or 4.5. It was really good. Can recommend. A bit of a less intense fantasy book that I will be recommending to you now is The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling. I read this almost exactly a year ago, which is crazy to say because it doesn't feel like a year has passed. I gotta say, back then I also read it in one of my vlogs. I liked it. It was like a 3.5 stars, but I didn't love it. But the thing is, it gave the vibes, you know?
Either you get the vibe or you don't get the vibe.
It was like such a good fall vibe. I remember reading it in October and it was so fun. So if you've not read this book yet, or if you've not read anything in this entire series, I know you see it everywhere, but this is just the most basic thing I can recommend to you for fall, but also the most fitting one. This is actually written in third person. I think that was also a reason why I had troubles connecting with the characters. I think that was also then why I rated it a bit lower, but I still remember all of the characters, which is a really good thing. I actually don't remember their names, but we're just gonna skip that part now. In The Ex-Hex, we follow a witch and she accidentally, I can't, it's so funny, and she accidentally one night curses her ex-boyfriend. It was really per accident, it was not on purpose, but by cursing her ex-boyfriend something else happens and the entire town is starting to play crazy. She basically needs to solve that spell or like redeem that spell. By trying to do so, she needs the help of her ex. It's kind of like a love story between the two of them again, or like them trying to find their way back together, but also just like trying to solve the problem of like solving the spell. It's just very lighthearted, very fun and easy. No hard topics being discussed in here, which is also nice sometimes, you know? We don't want emotional trauma in every book we read. If you want to have a nice palette cleanser that feels like fall, definitely read The Ex-Hex. A book I recently read and didn't talk to you guys about yet, so this is my opportunity to actually do so. It was one of the first dark romance books I've read in a long time, I think. I don't know why, but dark romance, just thinking about it, gives me the vibes of fall. And Hooked is basically a Peter Pan retelling, but don't get it twisted, because I feel like it's not a good thing to say that. It's not fantasy. You know, it's really just a dark romance. And I was a bit confused, I think, going into this, because I thought, okay, are we gonna get some fantasy elements in here? Is it gonna be a bit more Peter Pan? Not at all. Like, this entire series is very like playing in our world, basically. It's just very dark and very twisted and some very weird things sometimes happening. So like kind of mafioso vibes. If you're into that, it was very fun to read and I actually really enjoyed it. I think I rated it 4 stars as well. Really good book. Yeah, you have some references to Peter Pan, obviously, so that's what makes it even more interesting. And we have Wendy and Hook. People call him Hook. It's actually not his name, but for the sake of this video, I'm gonna call him Hook. They start to fall in love and it's very intense, I gotta say. Like, there are a lot of plot twists that I did not see coming. A lot of things where I was like, wow, jaw on the floor. Literally. So it was really fun. Definitely can recommend. But read the trigger warnings. Be aware that anything regarding dark romance might not be your cup of tea or might be a tiny bit traumatizing to you. So just keep that in mind. Okay, we already brushed briefly over that one. The Hunger Games. I don't know why, maybe it's because I read it last year in November for the first time actually, but for me Hunger Games are kind of fall vibes. I don't know, like a good dystopian novel, you can never go wrong with that. So that's just a very short brush in, maybe for you to reread as well. I just feel like it's giving fall. Maybe let me know in the comments down below what you think of that. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's an October book, but it's more a book that you read while going into winter. That's when I enjoy it, I think, the most. Maybe you do too. Let's talk about some romance. Let's just be a bit more cute and cozy. I feel like I need to talk about some Emily Henry books in any video, basically. No, it's not that extreme, but like, let's talk about some Emily Henry. The book that comes to mind of hers when I think of fall is actually Book Lovers, which I don't even remember much about that book, to be honest, but the vibes were fall to me. I look at it and I think of fall. So we follow here a woman that's actually coming from the city. She's a total city girly, and I think it was her sister or a friend of hers. I think it was her sister. She convinced her to go to a small town. Actually, in that small town, she then meets a man and they start to work in a bookstore, I think it was. They actually know each other from the city. I think they're even rivals. I hope I don't mix it up completely right now, but it was really cute. It was really fun, small town, just a nice palette cleanser. I'm gonna look it up again just to be sure that I don't get this wrong right now, because that would be embarrassing. Yeah, I don't know, actually. His name is Charlie. I don't know if they've known each other before or not, but it's a cute book. It's a really cute book. We get it. everyone and their mother is talking about the Wicked King or the Cruel Prince trilogy, whatever you want to call it, and everyone has probably read it at this point. What I don't hear people talk about is the spin-off series of Oak, the little brother of our main protagonist Jude. Actually, The Stolen Heir I almost enjoyed even more than the whole trilogy. It was a bit more lovey, like it gave a bit more romance and less politics, which love. This was one of the books last year that really got me back into reading and where I was like, wow, I want to find more fantasy books again. I want to start to enjoy reading a bit more again. And that actually took me a while. I was in a very big reading slump and this one got me out of it. So I have very fond memories of reading The Stolen Heir. I can show you. I actually have The Prisoner's Throne here. It's the Fairy Tale Special Edition, which also love. The second one, still good, but not as good as the first one. Because here suddenly we're having it in third person, which I did not get. I did not get the development. Why would we change narration within a series? Didn't really make sense to me, but overall, lovely. Especially if you loved the first trilogy. It was also a bit of a reminder of what happened back then. I would not say that you can read The Stolen Heir without having read the first trilogy though. It's really a spin-off and sadly it is interconnected. So you would maybe be a bit confused with the politics or something. Just keep that in mind, but I really started to love Oak. So I can recommend you that one too. I mean, obviously, we're talking about book recommendations, but I just love chatting about books with you guys. It's just so fun. It just makes me so insanely happy to have like this community where we can all share our love for this. And you can give me book recommendations too, and we can just inspire each other and have a good, fun time here on the internet. I just love that. I also want to talk about, I need some more coffee. Wait, still not getting better. Oh, that's so disappointing. Wow, never mind. Okay, you might have heard a lot of people talk about it, I know. But I'm a basic bitch and I want to talk about Daisy Jones and the Six. And if you don't want to read a book right now, which I don't know why you're watching this, but watch the series. The series was one of the best things I've watched so far this year. I watched 3 times within like 2 weeks or something. I loved this and the soundtrack was like always playing in my house. Loved it so much. Now I'm actually kind of out of the vibe because it was like, it took some time, you know, and the hype started to calm down a little. Oh my god, it was so good. It was so good. And then afterwards I read the book, which actually, just so you know, I don't know, I probably think it's common sense at this point, but read the book first, please. I think I would have rated it 5 stars if I would have read it first. Now I rated it 4.5 because I just love the characters. But also just watch the series in general. It's just so good. And the book is so good too. It's such a great character analysis, I feel like. It's so interesting to see and it's all written in interview format, which is also not done a lot, I feel like. I'm talking so fast. I'm so excited about this. So this was really one of the most exciting finds I've had this year. We're following basically the band Daisy Jones and the Six of their origin story. It's all fictional, by the way, but it's their origin story. And then also we have a little love situation going on between Billy and the main singer Daisy. And yeah, there's a lot of drama actually happening. A lot of characters that you grow to love and grow to hate. It's just so good. They really feel real in this book, you know, and also in the series you think it's a real band, and I think that's what makes it so special. So just go into it with an open mind. I don't want to talk your ear off about this because I think the less I say, the more the book can actually show it to you, right? Like I don't want to give anything away. This is a very high recommendation, especially for fall. And then lastly, to any one of you who have not read it yet, this is your sign. Pick it up now or tomorrow, I don't know. Once you have it, pick up Fourth Wing. Because this, maybe because I read it last, even my camera shut off and was flabbergasted, I think. Read Fourth Wing, pick it up right now. That's all I gotta say. It's dragons, it's fantasy, it's just giving fall. And yeah, I'm also saying that because I read it last year around the fall time, but it's just too good. It's just too good. So we are following Violet here. And this is actually a bit of a romantasy with Xaden, and we have a lot of politics in this one too. But I still feel like this is a fantasy that you can ease into because nothing is like being thrown at you, you know, like you're really getting information bit by bit by bit. And that's what makes it so nice and digestible and makes it so fast paced as well. We're following actually Violet's way of becoming a dragon rider. Really exciting stuff. She wanted to be a scribe, but her mom didn't accept her to be that. So she had to go through the entire trials basically of becoming a dragon rider, which deals a lot with the topic of death actually. Like you need to really be confronted with that stuff because if you have some classmates or anything, it might be that the next day they're not there anymore because they didn't pass the test. It's really crazy. It's very fast paced. I also have a reading vlog on Iron Flame. Didn't love that one as much, but still good book series. Definitely. It's just a good standard romantasy for you to get into. So if you're not into that yet, fall is the time to do so. And I'm actually wanting to talk with you guys about my TBR right now because there are a lot of books on my TBR that are even more fall than the book recommendations I gave you right now. My heart is fluttering looking at those. Now we're also gonna stop with all the pop-ups here because I have most of them physically here, which is exciting. Let's start with the, I think, least fall-ish one. We have a few romances in here. Maybe I'm gonna tackle those first. I showed this one to you in my recent book haul, and you guys commented a lot that I should read this ASAP, which is Planning 13 by Chloe Walsh. It is a thick book, a very thick one. It's basically a brick. You could really hurt someone with this, to be honest. If I would throw this at someone, this would hurt. Because it's almost 700 pages, I think. No, it's over. Oh my god, it's over 700 pages. Oh my god. This is a lot. This is a lot for a romance book. But you guys said I'm gonna fly through this, and I actually already need the second one at hand because it's so good. I'm still doubtful that a romance book can do that to me because I'm impatient. I just want to fly through a book, and this is just, it feels too long for me. But it's okay. I'm not gonna do that to myself and be negative about this already. I mean, it could be that it's gonna be a 5 star. So I actually want to have a reading vlog on this one too. This is my plan. A lot of these I actually want to have in reading vlogs. So let's see how I'm gonna hold up with that. This one is on my TBR for the upcoming few months because it needs to be done. 2024 cannot be over before I've read Binding 13 at least. I need to know what's going on. This book has been on my TBR for, I think, since December last year. So almost a year, not a year, 9 months. Too long, just too long. It's Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan. It's actually a side edition that I got at Strand when I was in New York, which love. So excited about that. Okay, I need to calm down, sorry. Love this for me. Just saying, this is more of a realistic love story, I think, from what I've heard, because she's going through a breakup, and I think it's also the trauma that she needs to deal with from that, and then also she meets a new person that she falls in love with, and like how to navigate all these things. It sounds very heart-wrenching and very truthful, actually. So I'm really curious about that, but I just didn't get around to reading it yet. And even Oprah magazine said it's one of the greatest romances to read in your lifetime. If one of Oprah's team says it, who can question that, right? So yeah, I'm curious about that one. I think this is a series, actually. I don't have the entire series though. Well, that's just what it is. Oh no, it's the Hoops series, and Long Shot is the first one. Then we have Block Shot, Hook Shot, and then we also have short stories and novellas. Okay, well, curious. But apparently I wasn't curious enough the past few weeks and months because I haven't picked it up yet. I just don't want to have it on my TBR anymore. I want to know what's inside in there. I want to know. Okay, one book I don't have here yet right now, but I really want to get, because I wanted to get it last year already, is You Again. This is a Harry Met Sally inspired book, I've heard, and it's in third person, which was for me something where I was questioning if I really wanted to read it or not. But it screams fall. The cover screams fall. The premise, Harry Met Sally, is just fall to me, so I just want to read it. That's just all I have to say. Like, it's just important to me to know what it's about. Another book that's actually a short one, but I've heard is quite sad, I think, is Alone with You in the Ether by Olivia Blake. One of you recommended this to me. I already told you guys I'm excited to read this. I want to pick it up the upcoming few months. And as I said, I was thinking of filming a video with your guys' recommendations. So maybe I'm just gonna put it all in one video and we will see how this is gonna go. Because yeah, I kind of wanna like just connect with you guys on that level, like that you also see my reaction to the books you recommend me. Because I do listen to you, and if I only tell you afterwards, I think it's a bit boring. You know, like you need to see it for yourself. If you don't want to miss this, subscribe. Saying it for the second time now. And this was actually the last love story, because everything else is just a bit like romance type-ish, like romantasy, whatever. Something that I don't think is actually romantasy, no, definitely not romantasy, wow, that has nothing to do with romance, I think it's more like literary fiction, is The Seven Husbands by Evelyn Hugo. I've started this beginning of the year and I got this far in and then I stopped. I like the writing style, but I was just a bit bored, I guess. I don't know, it's just not the type of book I would usually and typically pick up. And then I thought, you know what, I've loved Daisy Jones and the Six. I wish I would have read Daisy Jones and the Six in fall. So why don't I just read one of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books in fall? That would just make sense, right? Because I have this laying around for almost 3 years. Oh my god, that's so fun. I have like the stickers here from the local bookstore where my parents live. And I got this June 2022. So over 2 years ago. Well, it's time now. You know, you need to go off my TBR. It's gonna happen. This month maybe? Should I do it? Well, it's gonna happen, that's for sure. That's all I know. If it's gonna happen this month, I don't know. Maybe I should make a plan, but I'm not the type of person to make plans about that, so. I already told you guys about Serpent and the Wings of Night. I also read the short novella, which is not Sorcery of Thorns. I forgot what it's called now. Well, it's a novella, and I still want to read the second one in the Crowns of Nyxia duology. So then I have it done. I want to finish that series. And in the same breath, I thought, you know, if I already read the first one on camera, I can also read with you guys the second one. So then I thought, how can I combine it in a video? And a video that will come up soon, hopefully, is finishing books and series I'm in the middle of. And one of the series I'm in the middle of as well is From the Grave by Chrissy Cole. This, as I said, is the last installment in the entire series. So if I have this done, I have this entire series done. And actually, if I say it out loud right now, I'm almost gonna cry because it makes me emotional. It's been such a long time that these books have been with me, and I'm really scared of what's gonna happen. But also, what better way than to capture it on camera and to have it there eternally, you know? I'm actually excited for this. This is on my TBR for sure. This is gonna be read soon, I hope. But I'm also afraid. And I'm not gonna lie about that. You know, it's just what it is. And it's okay that books make you afraid and that you don't want to pick them up, actually. Sometimes you just love characters and stories and you just want to stay in those worlds forever. That it's actually frightening. It's just frightening. I'm not gonna apologize for that. It's just what it is. I also talked to you guys about the XX. Well, there's a second one of this series out, and I actually need to look it up because I don't remember what it's called. The Kiss Curse. Yeah, The Kiss Curse. I really want to read that one too. Because as I said, it's just fall, and maybe I hope it will give me the same vibe as it did last year. Around that same time last year I was in the US and I had a really good time there, and I just feel like sometimes the books you read or the music you listen to or the shows you watch, those all bring you back in time. It's like a little time travel, and I hope that the vibe that Kiss Curse will give me will kind of catapult me back to the time I was there. That's just my hope, that's my dream. Dream is a bit extensive, but that's just what I'm rooting for when I say I want to read The Kiss Curse. A book I have quite a long history with. Wow, that was so dramatic. No, that was more dramatic than I wanted it to be. No, I actually don't have a very long history with this book, but Heartless Hunter by Kristen Cicerelli, I don't know, is a book that I had on my radar for almost a year now. I filmed a video with my new releases for 2024 in November last year, and this was one of the books I was most anticipated for, and it came out in February. This was the first one this year that I had pre-ordered, and I was so thoroughly excited for this because this is a witch and a witch hunter, and it's enemies to lovers, and it's witches, you know, like, sorry, but like, as I already said, it's witch season. I'm gonna take my witchy mug and I'm gonna devour this. And now I've heard so many people say that it's a very good romantasy book, that they highly enjoyed it. And also the second one is not so far away anymore from the release date, I think. I don't think it's gonna take so long anymore. So it is time that I'm finally gonna read this. And it's also so beautiful. I'm so excited for this. I love all these books here. I'm so excited for fall, guys. Like, fall is my favorite season by far. It's gonna be a blast, I know already. Then we have, which I recently picked up, also showed to you in a vlog, One Dark Window by Rachel Gillick. I mean, this is fall in a nutshell, right? Like, you look at this and you think it's fall. I think it's fall. I don't see myself reading this in summer or something, you know? This is winter, this is fall, this is cozy. Cozying up with a blanket, basically. And it's a bit of a dark fairy tale reimagining or something. So it's a bit more of a dark fantasy thing. I don't know, actually. I want to go into this blind. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna tell you much. I'm gonna go into this blind. I've heard it has some tarot aspects, which I always love, especially around fall. It just... Is there a painting in it? Wait. Oh, that's so cute. Are these like little tarot cards, or... I mean, it's not tarot, but okay, every chapter has like those cards. Oh, I love that. That's cute. Promising. The last physical book I have here, which I started reading years ago. What even is this? Oh my god. I still have, as a bookmark in here, something when I went to a museum in The Hague, and that was also over 2 years ago. Oh wow, that's crazy. Well, the book I'm talking about is Stalking Jack the Ripper, also by Carrie Maniscalco. As I said, like I've read the Kingdom of the Wicked series, and that was also the reason why I started to pick this one up, because I've heard a lot of good things about this a few years back already. And this was one of her first releases, I think. I gotta say, I stopped reading it after 40 pages because it was just too gross. Bear with me here, but I was sitting in the train and it was so gross because the main character here, she works, I don't know what it's called actually. Like when you take apart the dead people, like when you analyze what happened to them. It's not my first language, I'm sorry, I forgot what it's called. I don't even know what it's called in German actually. Well, that's what she does as a job. That's all I know. And we had so many descriptions of dead people and the cause of death and everything, and how she cut off like body parts, and it was so gross. Oh, it was really bad. But I'm also sensitive, you know? So I thought, okay, maybe after 2 years of reading more like darker stuff, I maybe developed a bit of a thicker skin. I thought, maybe, I don't know. So this is why I decided maybe I'm gonna just pick it back up again. And maybe I'm just gonna try again. As I said, maybe it will change. Maybe I had to just grow up a little. This is a Jack the Ripper inspired story, as you can tell. But she falls in love with him, as far as I know. But what I've noticed when reading is that we don't know who anyone is. Like we're trying to figure out who Jack the Ripper is, which also leaves us with a bit of speculation, which is very fun. Like a bit of mystery. You know, fall. It's just fall. The amount of times I say fall in this video, embarrassing. That's why I decided I want to pick this back up again, because I don't want to have it on my TBR shelf anymore. If I really don't want to read it anymore, then I should get rid of it and give it a new home. I should just give it a shot again. I should just try, you know, and maybe I'm gonna love this. Like maybe at this point in my life, I'm gonna be fine with this. I really don't know. What I told you guys about in the beginning of this video or what I've meant when I said I'm gonna talk a bit more briefly about a few things and books I want to read, was that I wanted to tell you the genres I'm interested in right now. Obviously, I have a very extensive TBR list already. I think this is already way too long, and I hope I will make all of those, but actually I don't know. The thing is, I actually want to read a lot more dark romance, and I already told you guys as well that I would like to do a video about reading dark romance for a week, and this is just very interesting to me because, as I said, like I started reading Hooked, and there are a ton of dark romance books out there that are very hyped up, and I'm just curious. Yeah, I'm just a girl, I want to know what the hype is about. I want to read more dark romance, and I'm gonna take you along with me. And I know you guys already said that you want to have that, so I will be working on that video very soon. Still need to tackle a few books of my summer TBR though. It's not fully fall for me yet. It just needs to be done. And also, one thing about me, I'm the baddest alive. One thing about me is that I'm afraid of thrillers. I've never read a thriller in my life. It's not enticing to me, actually, to be honest. Like, it's not something where I'm like, ooh, I need to read this, I need to find out more. I feel like maybe I'm missing out on something. I need to broaden my spectrum maybe a little. There is one book, actually, which is something about a marriage. Like, it's called something with marriage. I don't know, The Perfect Marriage or something, where the mistress of the husband is being killed, and then she needs to defend him in court because she's a lawyer. I think that's what it is. Yeah, The Perfect Marriage. So this is the only book that's a thriller where I'm like, this could be something more for me, because it says it's a gripping psychological suspense. That seems like I could handle that. The thing is, everything else, because I'm chronically afraid of everything, I think I'm just gonna cry. I'm just gonna cry myself to sleep if I read a thriller. Actually, that's over-exaggerated, because I won't even be able to sleep at all after reading one. That's what I'm afraid of. I have too much of an imagination, and I think it's really gonna be bad for me. So if you want to see me suffer, maybe I should read for a week some thrillers, but I don't know. It's a thought process. I need to get used to it. My heart starts pounding just saying it out loud. So if you have any good thrillers that are beginner friendly and that are gonna let me sleep at night, then please leave me them in the comments down below. I would really appreciate some help from you guys, because I'm lost with that topic. I'm completely lost. So I need your guys' help, I need your guys' opinion, and yeah, I also need something where I can please be able to sleep at night. I had a phase where I was watching a lot of true crime, was obsessed with it, not gonna lie. A few years later, I noticed that these stories still stuck with me to this day, and I don't need my subconscious to think about death all the time. You know, I want to live. I don't want to read about death, I want to read about happy things and about the joy of living. So I actually enjoy living more. Does that make any sense? I don't know. This was my little anecdote about the possible genres I want to expand into. I'm not going to talk to you guys about non-fiction books because, yeah, I feel like those I don't really put on my TBR. This is more like I pick those whatever I feel like in that moment. It's starting to get better with some time because I start to get used to the coffee. Still not good though. Ugh. And with that, this concludes this fall book recommendations video and my fall TBR. I can't believe I'm saying it's fall already. That's so crazy to me. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it all the way through. Crazy, really crazy. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you watched this far till the end, leave me a pumpkin. Leave me a pumpkin emoji down below. I want to hear from you. With that, have a beautiful and blissful day, and I'm gonna see you next week. Or maybe even this week. Sometimes I'm faster. So I'm gonna see you soon. Let's put it that way. Bye!